First of all, I want to apologize for my voice. This is filmed on the weekend of Amber's birthday party. Happy 30th birthday, Amber. And as a result, there was a lot of shouting, a lot of fun. Went to a Heroclix tournament, went to dinner, went to anything. Everything involved a lot of being loud. So, unfortunately, I now sound like hot death. That said, we've owed you guys a second part to the unboxing review where we are going over figures from the rest of the set. Now, it's a little delayed. Usually we do it right afterwards, but there were still a few spaces missing. And shortly after we opened our boxes, or our own purchased boxes, I got on the horn and started lining up extra figures that we hadn't yet pulled. Figures that we're going to need to pull for our full collection. We do aim to get a one of each collection of sets when we do our collecting. And as a result, we do kind of find ourselves getting them very quickly in times because we do have a lot of really good friends and a lot of people who like to play the game very enthusiastically. So a lot of trades got arranged, which is what caused the delay. We wanted to get those figures on hand in order to allow us to give you a more in-depth review. That said, we lack only a few figures from the set at the time of this filming. One of which is Prime Looker. She's in the mail. Can't remember what figure I got from Tom now. A figure I am trading from Tom. The Bizarro Green Arrow along with the Bizarro Batman. Figures that we missed either in the initial review when we first unboxed it, thanks to WizKids, along with anything we might not have talked about over time. So that said, hopefully you guys enjoy what we got to say about figures. And remember, guys, when we do this review, I try to keep it down to casual versus competitive play. I won't just outright call a character crap. They'll have a place somewhere. So I guess it's time to get in there and get with it. Right, before we get started here, guys, just a quick thing. The figure that I brain farted on was the Riddler. It was the Riddler. All right. So first up, that missing slot from the common slot from our unboxing video, our initial unboxing video, is Harvey Bullock. Harvey Bullock comes in at 35 points, has the Gotham City Detective and Police keywords. His trait, sometimes you gotta break the rules. If an opponent wins the roll to determine the first player and does not choose Harvey Bullock's controller to be the first player, characters on your forest with the police keyword can use sidestep this game. Now he comes in at 35 points, comes with some late dial being the last 2 clicks enhancement. He does come with a running shot with the ability to do 3 damage. For his points, that's not terrible, but it does come with a 4 range, and he's got the PD team ability. This is a character who, if you have the right type of police characters, could be used. Not initially competitive, but so super casual, but at the same time, on the right police team, it could see some action, or the right character with the right number of police keyworded characters, because sometimes you do want to kind of give up that map roll, right? At least with Harvey Bullock. All right, so then we go back to the uncommon slot, and we have figure number 17, the Red Hood. This is a what you see is what you get dial, no special powers really. This is the one that the what I like to call the Jason Todd that darn near killed me turns into on his late dial. He's a Gotham City Underworld and Justice Gang keywords, Batman enemy team ability, 6 range, and a decent collection of powers on a 70-point character. This is not a really competitive character, much like the Jason Todd. He was really cool in the sealed. But unless you're really fitting around the keywords, you're not really going to see much of a competitive air to Red Hood. But casually, this is a dial set that is just fantastic. So yeah, good for your table game, not so good for the competitive play. All right, next up, Ra's al Ghul. He's got the League of Assassins, Assassin, Martial Artist, Past, and Ruler keywords. Ignores hindering for movement. Real name unknown. He's got this Lazarus Pit trait. During the place objects phase of setup, you may place a Lazarus Pit special marker as described on this card in an unoccupied square at least 6 squares from any starting area. Now, note that does not reduce from your objects. You just do it during the time that you would be placing objects. That question has come up a couple times, actually, and I just wanted to make sure that was clear. He's got a special movement power, right? Ra's al Ghul can use Charge and Flurry. He's got a special damage power. Ra's al Ghul can use Outwit. Opposing characters within 6 squares can't use the Batman ally team ability. It's 2 separate parts of the same power. So you can use Outwit, period. Then opposing characters within 6 squares can't use Batman ally team ability, period. So note that. The Lazarus Pit itself, as described from the first trait, when any character occupies the square with the Lazarus Pit, you may give the character a power action and roll a d6. When you do, heal the character equal to the result, remove the Lazarus Pit from the game, and the character possesses Battle Fury for the rest of the game. He's also got the Batman enemy and these calculator keywords, so he's a wild card along with being a Batman enemy. And we got a 6-click dial, 140 points, but some really good stats. I can see a place for him in competitive play, though not right off the bat. His defense is great, but he is soft. So if he does get hit, if you do happen to hit him for the usually 20 defense that you're going to have to hit, 20 to 19 to 18, depending on what you're trying to hit, he will suffer for it. But that's... In the current competitive game, there's a lot of tricks to manage that, and it can go a long way towards making Ra's al Ghul very, very powerful. He's got some really good flexible keywords, especially that Past one. We know Past is on a rise lately, especially in this set. So competitive, semi-competitive, though not. It's going to take a build to make him work. Next up, figure number 22, the Atom. All-Star Squadron and Justice Society and Past and Soldier keywords. He's got the JSA team ability, which is important to mention because he's got the simpler time trait, and his allows characters who uses defense to get +1 defense versus close combat values, kind of like the Hawkman. Other than that, we've got this set of stats: a 4-click dial, starts with 17 defensive combat reflexes, 3 damage with combat expert, 9 movement with sidestep, 10 attack. On his first click, he's got a 4-click dial for 25 points. The first 2 or 3 clicks on this guy for 25 points are super dangerous. Even the 4th click could do something. This is a character to be afraid of if you see him. Could be played in multiple numbers just to force the issue. So he is a threat. Could be played definitely in the resource freak limited game, as we like to call it, or as we play in the Rock. But yeah, there's a place for the Atom on the right type of team. So yeah, he's got some small level competitive play. It's not initially seen, but we can see it. Next up, the Prime Manhunter, 23B. He's got the Suicide Squad and Police keywords. He ignores Elevated for movement, hindering for line of fire. Public Defenders must help everyone is his trait. At the beginning of the game, choose Public Defender or Bounty Hunter. If you choose Public Defender, adjacent characters may replace their defense values with 18 when attacked by a character who is not Manhunter. If you chose Bounty Hunter, modify Bounty Manhunter's attack value by +1. The line between friend and foe is blurry sometimes. This is his special movement power. Give Manhunter a free action to exchange places with an opposing character that has lower points and within 5 squares and line of fire. He's got the Suicide Squad team ability and a lot of a close combat focus style along with 5 range. He comes in at 75 points. I don't think we're going to see this guy see competitive play very frequently. More likely to see casual play for sure. It's a good set of stats, but I mean, we have Anarchy as an option already in this set, and there's a lot of really good primes to choose from. I mean, ultimately, it's a tough choice, and Manhunter is probably not a choice I'm going to make competitively, though casually, I will make that choice. All right, next up. Figure number 30, Two-Face, Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld keywords. He's got a trait. A change will do me good. Give Two-Face a free action, heal him 1 click, and roll a d6. On a result of 4 to 6, turn him to the same click on a different color. Flip a 2-headed coin. Two-Face can use probability control regardless of range and line of fire, but only for attack rolls and only if one of the dice is a 2. Very specific probability control, but you'd be surprised how frequently a 2 shows up on the 2 dice. And then he's got special damage power, double-barreled shotgun. Two-Face can use energy explosion with 2 targets. Hit characters modify their combat values by -1 until the end of your turn. He's got the Batman enemy team ability, comes in at 65 points. And these are the 2 dials you get. So you got your Harvey Dent, starts with some defend, has some perplex, ends with some support. But then you have your Two-Face angry dial, which is a little bit more offensive, has that shotgun blast on the first 2 clicks. And remember, he does heal when he uses his flip a coin thing. So, and that's as a free action. So if you do a little bit of damage to him, he will heal back and then possibly switch dials depending on dice rolls. Initially not super competitive, definitely interesting, might make the occasional team, but his probability control is super limited when there are options at lower points that can just regularly do probability control. All right, now we're in rare territory. We go to figure number 33, the Joker. This is how I deal with the Bat trait. Allows you or if you take the Joker's attack value, you can reroll attack rolls. So I got this all out of here. He's got a 50-point dial, Batman enemy team ability, obviously, to go with that trait. He is indomitable. Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld, keywords. Special attack power. Come on, Bats. It's the old squirting flower gag. Give the Joker a power action to make a close attack targeting a single opposing character within 3 squares and line of fire. If the attack hits, deal that character 1 penetrating damage instead of normal damage. 4 clicks, 50 points, indomitable, perplex, outwit, Batman enemy team ability. Unless you're really working around these keywords, you're not going to see him in competitive play. Casual play, you'll see him. That ability to get around defense modifiers from energy shield and whatnot can go a long way for that special power sometimes. Next up, Harley Quinn. Figure number 34 in the rare slot, Gotham City Suicide Squad keywords, calculator team ability, wildcard. He's got a special movement power. Harley Quinn can use Force Blast. When she is adjacent to an opposing character, Harley Quinn can use Hypersonic. So kind of like an attack. Like you don't lose the attack on move and attack from Transporter. It's a 4-click dial calculator with some perplex and some outwit. 60 points is a lot to pay for this character. The defenses are high, but if she gets hit, she's basically done. Honestly, I wouldn't see this in competitive play. Probably going to see it in casual play. I really like it though. Looks neat and is probably going to get played on a couple of my table games for sure. All right, next up we have Talon. Court of Owls, Gotham City Assassin, Martial Artist past keywords, ignores elevated and hindering forearm movement. He's got the Assassin of the Court trait. Talon can use sidestep and stealth. Talon can use mastermind, but only to transfer damage to characters with the Court of Owls keyword. So that'll be like court initiates and whatnot. Special defense power, you can use combat reflexes and regeneration. When Talon uses regeneration, instead of subtracting 2 from the roll, subtract the number of action tokens assigned to him. I believe I went over, but I'm going to get Court of Owls, Gotham City, Assassin, Martial Arts, and past keywords. And then that power that is described is on his last 2 clicks on 120-point dial. This is a character who rocks sealed, but unfortunately won't see competitive play. 5 range, 2 targets as well, to mention. I like him, but he's not super competitive. He will make some casual games and make some really interesting scenario play, reliving the Court of Owls, which is a really cool storyline. Play some games with the Court of Owls and Assassins, guys. It's a really neat thing to do. All right. Next up, El Diablo. Suicide Squad, mystical keywords. He's got a trait, Minor Wrath of Vengeance. When El Diablo hits an opposing character after action resolve, attach the fire marker to a hit opposing character, removing it from anywhere else. At the beginning of that character's turn, deal with 1 penetrating damage. When that character moves through water terrain or clears action tokens, remove the fire marker. I don't have the fire marker handy on me, but it's your standard Clix effects coolness. 75 points, 6 range. Unfortunately, as cool as he is with his probability control and psychic blast and whatnot, in the competitive environment, because of his lack of running shot, he doesn't look great. So unless you have a way of giving him running shot, he's really not going to stand out. And even though he could do that in some ways, it might not be worth the effort on this particular character. Though casual play on Suicide Squad teams and some mystical teams could be a lot of fun. Suicide Squad team ability as well. So casual play. Very cool looking dude though. All right, next up, the Spectre. Comes with Justice Society, Detective, Mystical Past, and Police keywords. A good collection there. His simpler time trait gives super senses, but only evades on a 6 for characters taking his defense. Very simple, 4-click dial for 40 points, but he does fly. He's got 8 range, with not the greatest attacks and damages to start, but he does peak in the late dial. He did a lot of work for me in Seal. The competitive play is going to be a little harder to run him because he's more evasive on his first 2 clicks with that super senses and shape change. Less evasive on later clicks, but his defense at a 19 peaks up really as that JSA team ability. He can be used on wildcard or JSA teams. You just got to be, you're going to be playing the is it worth it game with regards to those last 2 clicks of defense. So semi-competitive on the right teams, casual play. Oh yeah, he's going to rock some tables. Next up, Dr. Fate, very cool looking figure. All-Star Squadron, Justice Society, Mystical Past keywords, 42, figure number 42 is still in the rare slot. His simpler time gives probability control, but only to re-roll 1 dice in the attack roll. And then he's got special damage power at the beginning of your turn. Choose Empower or Enhancement. Dr. Fate can use the chosen power this turn. He's got energy shield on all but 1 of his clicks. He is indomitable with 6 range. The way this dial flip-flops, unfortunately, you're not going to be taking his defense too frequently, well, unless he's on his first click. So it's a risky venture unless you're chaining some GSAs, which takes its own set of work. But honestly, not initial competitive. But if he fits into your JSA, fit him in there somehow, because the enhancement and or empower could go a long way. The extra carry could go a long way because you do need it if you're playing these JSA teams that might have a lot of characters. So just note that he's going to feel like a bit of an anchor on your team if you do rock him. All right, next up, Deadshot. Deadshot's got Gotham City, Suicide Squad, Assassin keywords. Did I mention that? Keywords were All-Star Squadron, Justice Society, Mystical and Past? Because they are. All right, back to this. Gotham City, Suicide Squad, Assassin. Ignores characters for Line of Fire. He's got an optional trait where you pay +5 to give him Contract Killer. When building your force, a theme team may include Deadshot and still be a theme team if your force includes a character with a point value greater than 80 points. If your force doesn't have a character with a point value of greater than 80, modify Deadshot's combat values by -1. Like, the only reason to pay for that is if you really need that theme bonus, but you're still required to just use him at 75 points. He does have, Suicide Squad and Batman enemy team abilities, 75 points. Pretty good dial at 75 points. I personally wouldn't pay for the trait too frequently unless you absolutely must get that thing. But you got to understand is you're going to need a character who's 80 points. He's 75, so you've already spent 155 in order to make Deadshot work. Or 160 rather, because you're paying for that trait as well. So 160 at that rate is just, it's math that doesn't make sense for me, especially when that other character becomes a liability to his pretty good stats, especially that 9 range. Oh my goodness. I'd say don't pay for the optional trait and just go for the 75 on this guy. At the same time, though, make sure your team can use him. He does need a Caxi to get him into stealth. And just choose either the right Batman enemies near him or use him to up some attacks with his already great 11 attack. Iffy on the competitive play, but very, very solid for casual play. All right, next up, Killer Croc. Killer Croc's got Gotham City, Underworld, and Brute keywords. His deal with the bat gives +2 attack if the close attack and the target occupy water. And that's if you're taking Killer Croc's attack, which goes from 10 to 9 to 10 again. For 50 points, very, very strictly casual play. There are ways to make him work, but the effort it takes is not worth the points you're going to have to spend to force it to work. So, especially in a competitive type environment. All right, next up and wrapping up the rare slot, Firefly, Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld, and Armor keywords. Napalm is his special attack power. Firefly can use energy explosion when he hits with a range attack after actions resolve. Attach the fire marker to one hit opposing character, removing it from anywhere else. At the beginning of that character's turn, deal one penetrating damage. When that character moves from water terrain or moves through water terrain or clears action tokens, remove the fire marker. He's got that on his first 3 clicks, 75 points, 5 clicks. Starts with invulnerable, running shot, has flight, 5 range, 2 targets. As far as competitive play is concerned, you can force him to work, but it's not really ideal. He's cool. It's just, unfortunately, I don't see him making a lot of noise in the competitive environment with what we get in this package. So, casual play for sure. Competitive play, not so much. All right. Now we're entering the super rare slot, which is where the tone starts to turn around as far as play. But let's get to Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld, Armor, and Scientist keywords. Trait, try not to shatter my frozen friends, boys. When Mr. Freeze hits with a range attack, give each hit target an action token, and after actions resolve, attach the ice wall marker to one hit character unless it's attached to another character. So if you have the ice wall marker from him, it's you only get the one going out there at a time. He's got special defense power. Mr. Freeze can use toughness. Beginning of your turn, heal Mr. Freeze a number of clicks equal to 3 minus the number of adjacent opposing characters. He's got special damage power. Adjacent opposing characters modify their attack and damage values by -1. And then he's got this ice wall marker. As long as the ice wall marker is attached, that character can't be moved or placed, and modifies his defense value by -2. Remove it at the end of the character's turn and deal that character 1 penetrating damage, or give any adjacent character a power action to remove the ice wall. So you can get rid of it, but it takes some work. He's got that special defense power his last 2 clicks. He's got special attack power and everything past the first 2 clicks. He's got the Batman enemy team ability, 11 attack, the first 2 clicks, 10-10, then 9-9, 5 range. You can make this guy work, but Iceman is better, as people will say. So in competitive play, you're probably not going to see him too frequently, but there is something to be said about him, and if he can be made to work again, and this might actually pay off in effort versus where the Iceman might not. Excuse me for that. That said, we're going to call him semi-competitive and say great in casual. All right, next up. The Penguin. This is how I deal with the bat. If you take the Penguin's attack, after the action resolves, you may give a Robo Penguin a move action as a free action. It's an interesting little choice. Then he's got the My Own Deadly Rookery trait. Give the Penguin a power action and place adjacent a Robo Penguin bystander of your choice as described on this card. Give the Penguin a power action and give each Robo Penguin a move action as a free action. Then he's got my best weapon to date as a special attack or damage power. The Penguin begins the game with the Robo Penguin attached. When placing a Robo Penguin bystander on the map, you may remove the Robo Penguin from Penguin's base and use it to represent the bystander. This bystander modifies his combat values by +1, and when it is KO'd, reattach the Robo Penguin to Penguin's base. Now we see the Robo Penguins that are our options. This one has sidestep, pulse wave, and toughness. Now you note they all have a trait, waddle waddle. Robo Penguin's move actions don't count against your action total. That's an important element to note. They are all tiny as well. So again, sidestep, pulse wave, always a good choice. Then we got this one, which has charge and exploit weakness with combat reflexes. And 4 movement with running shot, psychic blast, 16 defense with energy shield, and 5 range. So all these penguins are really good where they are. This is a mediocre dial at best, but you can use that defense on if you have these Robo Penguins playing it close to the heart, or if you happen to have a decent defensive need in the back end for 40 points. This is a guy who's going to be in competitive play for a number of reasons. You can probably make some overwhelming swarms with this guy included with a Devil Dinosaur. He is not as good as Devil Dinosaur, but could definitely complement a Devil Dinosaur for sure. And there's so much you can do with this guy that, yeah, he's got competitive play written all over him, especially at his bargain of 40 points. I mean, that point value is very low. I almost consider him 140 with Devil Dinosaur as his partner and just overwhelming the opponent with guys in the face. All right, next up. The JSA Green Lantern All-Star Squadron Justice Society Mystical and Past keywords. His simpler time trait. Allows you to share the defense and give +1 defense against range attacks. Then he's got a trait, Green Lantern's Light. Once per turn, Green Lantern can use Barrier. He can use it as a free action, but only to place one barrier marker. When he uses Barrier, he may substitute one barrier marker that he would place with the light wall marker and place it in a character square within range, positioning one side along an edge. This marker acts like a wall. If you place a light wall marker, it is removed at the beginning of your next turn. And it's got a unique modifier. Opposing characters adjacent to any of his light wall or barrier markers can't use stealth and modify their defense values by -1. This is all attached to a 35-point character, 4 clicks, Indomitable, with reasonable stats and the JSA team ability. There's work from this guy that can be done. You don't have to do much work to make him work. His 7 range with barrier is great. You'd be surprised how strong a single action token barrier or single token barrier can be, to be brutally honest. So yeah, Mr. Alan Scott's great. Don't forget he's also an option for call-in. To replace somebody of a fairly low point value on a team with a round table. So keep your eyes on this guy. Definitely a lot of work. I didn't have his green wall barrier handy at the time. This one we only have the sketch variant of, but it is Johnny Thunder. He's got the All-Star Squadron, Justice Society, Mystical Pass, and Soldier keyword. I love how he's just riding him kind of like Falcor on the Never-Ending Story. I love this character. My wish is G. How do I say it? At the beginning of your turn, roll a d6 that can't be re-rolled. Modify Johnny Thunder's combat values by -1 on a 1. On a 2 to 5, Johnny Thunder can use a standard power of your choice. And on a 6, modify Johnny Thunder's combat values by +1. And Johnny Thunder can use a standard power of your choice. Any results last until your next turn. And then he's got a special damage power, the most powerful JSA member, if only he'd realize it. Johnny Thunder can use Perplex and Probability Control, but both only to target opposing characters. He's playable at 125 or 75, 6 range, 2 targets, with the JSA team ability with 18 defense on 4 of his 6 clicks. So he's got that Probability Control offensively only on the first 2 powers. Then he gets into Probability Control in the mid dial, which is normal Probability Control. Then he has his attack spike that goes with Close Combat Expert in the late dial. He's cool. Could be better. He's low competitive, high play casual. He's strong, really cool, and has a lot of potential, but gets overshadowed by the Prime in competitive play. But really, he's still a neato character, though a little inconsistent about the way he works. All right. Next up, Jakeem Thunder. This is the guy that's causing the conversation now. He's got the Justice Society and Mystical keywords. You know what I'm thinking, Johnny? At the beginning of your turn, choose 2 standard powers, but only one of those powers, and this is a trait, by the way, may be a defense power, Hypersonic, Outwit, Perplex, or Pulse Wave. Jakeem Thunder can use the chosen powers until your next turn. This guy is competitive, 140 points. He's got a really long dial, 8 range with 2 targets. He starts with Prob on his first 5 clicks, so you don't really have to choose Prob, and a lot of the times you choose it. You can go with some running shot with his high movement, running shot to back up that pulse wave. You can just running shot with a really strong defense power. This is a really rough dial to try to get through. I like this guy, and there's a lot of possibility with Jakeem for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a competitive play because he's going to see competitive play for sure. So plan for him, or occasionally plan to use him, guys. This is a really solid dial. And brings back memories of, though, a little pale in comparison to the Zombie Super Skrull of old. All right, we're getting closer, guys. Next up, we have Geo-Force. Justice League Outsiders, Politician, and Ruler keywords. His trait, Lord of the Land. Geo-Force can use Barrier, but only as a free action and only to place 1 barrier marker. Those markers are not removed at the beginning of your next turn. After action resolve, if the map has more than 4 such markers, remove 1 of them. Then he's got a special movement power. Geo-Force can use, which is Lava Jet Bursts. Geo-Force can use Charge, Force Blast, and ignores blocking and breaks through it. Worth noting, his character is not that great for 160 points. At 7 range, 2 targets, is unique with the Outsider's team ability. A lot of points probably get sunk into this. The dial is pretty thick. But ultimately, even though he's got the permanent barriers at one at a time, it's really just a point sink on a character who lacks some indomitability or willpower, to be brutally honest. He's better in sealed, that's for sure, but not a highlight of the game for sure. Casual play, though. Casual play, you'll see. All right, next up, the prettiest figure ever made, the Man-Bat. Oh my gosh, look at this. Like I can't even do it justice just trying to get the card and the figure. This figure deserves the way it looks. So we'll do one at a time and I'll read off his powers. So first is his trait. This is how I deal with the bat. Oh, sorry, he's Gotham City, animal, and scientist keywords. I think I can get this. There we go. Beauty. All right, I think we can do both. This is how we deal with the bat. Once per turn for all characters with this trait. If a character uses the Batman enemy team ability to replace its attack value with Man-Bats, that character can use steal energy for this attack. Then his own special attack power gives him blades, claws, fangs, and steal energy. I just wish this dial was so much better because I'd love to play this guy in competitive, but he's just not really there. His complete lack of defense powers really hurts his usability. But he has 55 points. He did pretty phenomenal for me in sealed. He did lead the attack very well. So he holds a spot for me. And you are going to amaze players when you put him on the map. He's intimidating looking, but I think you get more of a psychological game than you get much out of the game with him. That said, move next to the man who broke the bat, Bane. There's a lot to read here until we get to the dial. So this is how I deal with the bat. Allows a character to get +1 attack if they're making a close attack when sharing his Batman enemy team ability attack value. And then he's got the Venom Pump trait. Give Bane a free action and place 1 or 2 Venom tokens on this card. Increase Bane's attack and damage values and reduce damage dealt to him by the number of Venom tokens on his card. At the beginning of your turn, remove all Venom tokens from this card and deal him unavoidable damage equal to the number of Venom tokens removed. Gotham City, Underworld, and Brute keywords, and he's got Charge, the only listed power because that's all he's got on all 11 clicks of his dial. Now, worth noting, he's indomitable. 11 clicks. His attack never drops below a 10. It does spike at the end. He does have some weak defense values in the middle of the dial where he drops 16. When you're spending the Venom tokens, you can really get some use out of them. You can get some life out of this guy for sure. Initially, it's going to take a lot of work though. And honestly, we're probably not going to see an amazing build out of him initially, though something could come down the line, who knows, to make him great. Limited play, we might see some people try him. At 105 points for 11 clicks, he's a bargain already, and could be worth a good mastermind to the Killing Joke Joker. But really, it's just for competitive play. There's some options; they're just not all great. But if you can put in the work, you can make him work. And yeah, so keep your eyes on the Bane because someday he'll see it. And in casual play, he's going to be a ton of fun to play. Oh my goodness, is he ever. All right, another man making the conversation around the campfire. The Joker, also nicknamed lately Joker. You got the Arkham Asylum, Gotham City keywords. He lacks Batman enemy. He's got no team abilities. He's got the when building your force. The Joker costs 10 points for each escape token you place on this card, minimum 3, maximum 5. So he costs 30 to 50 points. When the Joker heals or takes damage, remove 1 escape token from this card for each green or red line crossed. When there are no escape tokens on this card, KO the Joker. At the end of the game, or if the Joker is KO'd, your opponent scores no points for the Joker and instead scores 10 points for each escape token that was removed. At the beginning of your turn, okay, and that is if at the beginning of your turn, you may roll a d6 and have the result. When you do, either heal or damage the Joker that many clicks, and he can heal past his starting line. So that's just to represent the ticking of the lines. Got to be a little careful with that. But anyway, he is also the Joker can use sidestep and super senses. Then he's got a miasma of powers in the middle there, followed by a dial that doesn't stop. He's got a consistent movement of 7, a consistent attack of 10, consistent damage of 1. He is indomitable and a consistent defense of 17. Now, there is a lot of talk about what's possibly going to happen with this guy. So you pay 30, 40, or 50 points for him. He has got a dial. Now let's look at how you can deal the damage. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to remove one of those tokens to score the 10 points. Now, what's more notable is if you get a turn before you take that 6, you can heal back up. Just watch the lines. Keep away from the lines. If you get close to the line, don't heal, and maybe take some damage, or just watch your dial movement. There is a way to make this guy feel almost as unkillable as Bizarro was. Oh, he's also got a 4 range. He's going to see competitive play for sure. People are going to drive people nuts with him, and that is a fact. In fact, I don't even think if this is required. Because the dice roll is manageable to you, it's a May roll. It's just if you get to these lower points closer to the lines, this is a character that I have to take back a lot. Some of the things I said about the dial on the back of the card, this is a character made for that. Keep an eye on this dial and watch where it's going and start healing and knowing where to go at the beginning of your turn and manage this, and you can have a nigh unkillable Joker at times. All right. Oh man, this character just looks amazing. Ugh. All right. Now for the stuff of nightmares, the chases. So we got 4 figures here that we're going to talk about that we've pulled. So like I said, we didn't have a Riddler, though he does seem mostly casual play. He does have some good potential in there. Next, we on our version of this one as a sketch, but we got Bizarro Wonder Woman. Okay. Now all of them, you're going to see the dial looks exactly the same. Some of them will have different ranges, and their points will change based on their power sets. So she's got a 3 range on hers. She's got the monster keyword. Then she's got Bizarro Incapacitate, which give Bizarro Wonder Woman a close or range action to make an attack targeting a friendly character that deals no damage. If she hits, remove an action token from the target. She's also got an imperfect body, which leads to stop clicks, which she has on the last 2 clicks, like the rest of them. Neato. If this could get a lot of motion out of a character that you just need to keep making actions with. Could be a menace with somebody like Armagon from TMNT Ally. You're going to hear me say like character names these guys would be good with. Just keep your eyes on these because there are potentials for almost all of them. They all have their place somewhere. And she does too, along with the rest of them. So, eyes open on that. Next up, Bizarro Joker. Me, the saddest man in Bizarro world is his trait. Bizarro Joker can use plasticity. Adjacent characters modify their attack values by -1. Again, his dial exactly the same as all the other Bizarro ones, so there's no shock in numbers there. No range on this one. He comes in at 45 points. His special attack power, Bizarro Poison. At the beginning of your turn, give Bizarro Joker a free action and heal him 1 damage for each adjacent opposing character. I just have his stop clicks on the last 2 clicks. Not great for competitive play, but could be very frustrating if he is made to work. So be aware of that when you're playing against him. If he's made to work, don't get in on him. Attack him at a distance. But I like honestly, if this will be part of a team. If you see him, there's going to be setup involved. Watch the setup and just keep away from this guy because that plasticity will be super obnoxious while you try to hit him and then he just heals it back. So maybe, but not on a lot of teams that are out there right now, but there will be a team that this guy's used for setup. Casual play, he's just going to frustrate your friends. All right, next up, Bizarro Hawkgirl. So again, dial exactly the same as the rest of them. 50 points for this one. She flies. She's got Bizarro Quake. Give Bizarro Hawkgirl a close action targeting they're all monsters too. I didn't mention that, but Joker is also just a monster for keywords. Oh, excuse me. So Bizarro Hawkgirl has Bizarro Quake. Give Bizarro Hawkgirl a close action targeting all opposing characters in 2 squares. Hit characters are placed adjacent to Bizarro Hawkgirl. Targeting all characters and all hit characters. I wonder if she does her damage with that. I'll have to look into that. That's interesting. They didn't mention anything about it not doing any damage. Opposing characters or hit characters in a place station. Yeah, weird. Sorry. So she's got her in perfect body, which is stop clicking on the last 2 clicks. And then she's got Bizarro close combat expert on all of her clicks. Whoa, jeez. When Bizarro Hawkgirl is the target of a close attack, you may give Bizarro Hawkgirl an action token to modify the attacker's attack value by -2, its damage value by -2, or both combat values by -1. If Bizarro Green Arrow shifts the metagame like the way we see it, we might see her spike for a little bit in play, just because the counterplay to the counterplay to the counterplay may see her work, because the team that's working at the time is using her effectively. Otherwise, you're probably not going to see Bizarro Hawkgirl played in competitive, probably more in a casual environment. All right, and last, and a little bit close to the least, Bizarro Aquaman. He's monster, and his trait, me can't swim. Characters within 6 squares of Bizarro Aquaman can't use the swim ability. And then we see exact same numbers on the dial. As we said, he's 45 points with no special damage power. Sorry about that. And he's got Bizarro Smoke Cloud. Bizarro Aquaman, give Bizarro Aquaman a power action and place up to 6 water terrain markers in distinct adjacent squares within 4 squares. At least one of the terrain markers must be within line of fire when it is placed. The terrain markers remain until your next turn. And then he's got the last 2 stop clicks. This is a very specific, very specified character. If you need the water terrain, he can make it. But you know, he's only 45 points. But it's again specific to those water-based teams that don't come up too often. So he's there, but it's not super fantastic. All right, guys. So that was most of the set. As far as figures we haven't discussed, Bizarro Batman does have some application, but it's in a very specific type of manner. Bizarro Green Arrow is going to change the competitive game. Expect him to be seen. And he is going to force some weird options out of a lot of players. So keep your eyes open for that guy. Outside of that, Outside of that, we have the Riddler, like I said, not super competitive in the super rares that we didn't have. Overall, there's not a lot of hyper competitive, super awesome figures. There's a lot of figures that add to team archetypes that can really make a lot of work out of it. Now, the week that you're watching this, we are planning on doing a lot of discussion regarding the Joker's Wild. So keep your eyes on the channel for that. Especially, the Meta Lab, we're going to be discussing the Joker's Wild as a set and the effect it's going to have on the game. And as well, we're going to be talking a little bit on Metafix, the overall arcing big things from the set to be seen, to be expected, what to do with the set, and whatnot. So, like I said, it's a Joker's Wild week. It's not an easy set. This is not a beginner set, guys. So just as a heads up, if you're introducing a player, there are some really neat, simple, basic characters in there, but as a whole, don't introduce them with anything else. Just introduce them with this set, because this set on its own needs help, but that's okay. Sometimes, you just need a set that complements other sets, and this has a lot of figures that will complement other figures in the game. Anyway, I'm at length. Thank you guys very much for watching. We want to thank WizKids for our first set of reviews. I want to thank the Comic Warehouse for bringing the bricks to us from Brampton for our 2-case unboxing. And just overall, I want to thank you guys for watching. Check us out again, patreon.com/marriedwithclicks if you want to kind of support us directly, or check out majesticccg.com or hcrealms.com, our sponsors, to check that out. So you guys have a wonderful day.
Married with Clix is brought to you in part by MajesticCCG.com. Check out the new premium site with MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. Check the link below. Trust me. Trying to remember that from me talking? Not going to help. You'll get awesome articles at $3 a month, with the first month being free, from amazing writers such as Paris Gordon, Easton Brock, Aaron Cantu. I'm even going to be contributing occasionally. And if you're familiar with the Meta Lab, check out some of Mike Payne's articles. So, check it out again, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders for your look into the minds of some of the greats.